Homework Hotline, what is your emergency?
For right now.
All right, we have a really quick question. It's just asking, what is 1/16 plus 3/4 plus 5/12?
Okay, 1/16 plus 3/4 plus 5/12. Okay, I am going to, on my screen, I'm actually going to set it up as vertical addition because it's going to give us some space to work here. So, fractions, everyone's favorite numbers, I would have to say. I've worked in middle school and I've also worked at the high school level, and I will say it doesn't get any more lovely with those fractions. Doesn't matter the level, everybody just loves fractions. So one thing when we're adding fractions or subtracting fractions from each other, it's really important that we have the same denominator. For example, if I were to take something like this, 3 oranges plus 2 apples, getting ahead of myself here, 2 apples, if I were to take that and add those two together, I can't really add them together when we're calling them things that are different than each other. I can maybe find something in common with them and call them fruit, like this. And then 3 fruit plus 2 fruit, that's going to give me 5 fruit. So what I need to make sure, it's kind of the same with fractions. If I had something like 1/4 plus 2/3, I could not put these together until I made them the same or made them common. So what we'll do is we need to find common denominators. To find common denominators, or what we're going to make those denominators into so that we're allowed to add them together, is we're going to list the multiples of each denominator. And the reason we do that is because we want to find a common number between the three that we can actually make all of their denominators into. So in this case, multiples of 16, and multiples are just skip counting by that number. So 16, 32, that's 16 times 2. 16 times 3 is going to give us 48. With another 16, we have 64. And another 16, we get 80. Yeah. And then another 16, we get 96. And I'm going to stop there and go ahead and list some multiples of 4 and 12. Now, I'm going to just stop with 12 because I'm not going to do 4 for 2 reasons. One, it's going to take me a while to get up to 96. It's going to take me a long time to list those multiples, 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on. And then also, I know that 4 goes into both 12 and 16. So any multiple of 12 is also going to be a multiple of 4. Same with 16. Any multiple of 16 is also going to be a multiple of 4 because 16 is a multiple of 4 and so is 12. So I'm going to skip 4 because I know all of these are going to be common. So 12, we go 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, and then 96. 96 is our common one, so we're actually going to change both of our denominators into 96, or all three denominators into 96. And what we're asking ourselves in order to change our numerators is what we did to the denominator to change it to that. So we're basically asking 16 times what gave us 96? Because we have to do the same thing to the numerator when we do something to the denominator. So 16 times 6 is going to give us 96. So what we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. So 1 times 6 gives us a new numerator of 696. We're going to do the same with the 4 and the same with the 12. The 12, I know, times, 8 times 8 is 96, and so that's going to be the same thing I do to my numerator. So 5 times 8 is going to give you 40. I'm going to do the same thing with my 4 and 96, and 4 times 24 is 96. Now, if you didn't know that off the top of your head, which I didn't either, what you can do is work backwards by dividing. So you'd take 96 divided by 4 and would give you that times 24. we've got to do the same to the denominator. So that's going to give us 72, or to the numerator. Now we can actually go ahead and add them up, just kind of like we were able to do with our oranges and apples. As soon as we made them common things, we can put them together. So together with 6 and 72, I have 78. And then plus the 40, I end up getting 118. So that is my new numerator, 118. My denominator is still 96. Kind of like, again, when I take 2 fruit plus 3 fruit, I get 5 fruit. Fruit stays the same. The only thing that's being added together is the number, or the numerator, really, if you're thinking about it that way. Now to simplify this, what we do, because this is an improper fraction, so we're going to take our numerator divided by our denominator, 118 divided by 96. And 96 goes into 118. I'm going to erase some of my multiples here. It goes into 118 one whole time, and we're left with a remainder of 22. So the remainder is our numerator, and denominator stays 96. Now we want to make sure that that fraction is simplified completely, so we want to divide it by the greatest number that goes into both of them, and I believe that that is 2. And so we end up getting 1 and 11, and then dividing that in half, 45, 48. So when we add all 3 of those fractions together, again, and this is why fractions are, people just love them so much, is that look at all of this work that we did just for one problem. We have to find a common denominator. We have to change our fractions into equivalent fractions with that common denominator. Then we have to add our numerators together and simplify. And the simplifying process is multiple steps as well. If it's improper, we have to do the division to turn it to a mixed number. If it needs simplified, we need to do that as well. So quite a process, but common denominators is the big idea. Create those common denominators, and then you can add and subtract any fraction together as long as they've got those common denominators.